Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Schifrin, and I chair the Townsend Housing Authority. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. And roll call, please.
Natalie Call.
Chad Sexton Duranian.
Laura Schifrin. The meeting is being recorded this evening, and if you would all join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as always, I'd like to thank all of our veterans that are here, as well as those in the audience, for your service to our country and the freedoms that we are able to enjoy. Additions, deletions, unforeseen before 48 hours. I just need to tell you that about 4 o'clock this afternoon, Carol Toole did let me know that she was at Emerson Hospital with her mom and didn't think she'd make it tonight because she didn't know how long she was going to be there. So prayers going out to her mom, and hopefully she's well soon. And then I got a call about 5 from Betty Ann Coleman that she had done something to her knee this afternoon. Now she has had recent on that knee. So I told her we had a quorum and to best put that leg up and ice it. And ibuprofen, of course. So hopefully she'll be with us at the next meeting. Other than that, I have nothing to add or delete. Does anyone else have anything?
I don't have anything.
Nothing.
Okay, thank you. You were all emailed, and you have in front of you the minutes of the August 15th meeting, and I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes of August 15th, 2018.
I second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, under the chairman's report this evening, I did about a month ago now, I think it was 4 weeks yesterday, I did put in a written request to the town administrator for legal opinion regarding the $10,000 that was given to RCAP at the completion of Townsend Woods. Last week I sent a reminder email and I got a response stating that they were looking into it. But it's been a month, so I wanted you to know that there has been a written request gone in, and according to the town administrator, it has been given to legal counsel.
Good. Okay.
Any update, Jazz, on the... Do you have an update tonight?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. I'm going to go ahead and do in my update this week. I'm just going to go through everything that we went over last week, just so we clean up the record here. Number 1, THA web updates. I want to let you guys know that everything is done, everything is current, what everybody had asked for. I urge you guys to look at the content and submit any questions or changes to the housing@townsend.mass.us web address, and I'll go ahead and change it. I think in future meetings I'd like to discuss the relevancy of the content, and we also need to think about opening up a section for the Veterans Project that we have. I think that with our discussions tonight and future discussions, I'll be able to fashion something so that it'll be pretty easy for everybody to click to. And then what I figured I could do is let you know what I have in mind or what we can do, and then we can discuss it in the meeting and then go forward. I added an announcement about our community outreach on the page as well. And any thoughts that you guys have about that, I think we can add it right in that same link, but I want your opinion on it. And I have no problem monitoring and doing the updates to that web page, so that's not a problem. Number 2 is the Housing Authority Board Member Training. I sent out a letter, an email on August 27th. The email contains information that is mandatory for board members and should be read and completed as soon as possible. The chair had asked me to submit to the DHCD there's an online web training. I've submitted everybody's email address. I'm waiting for an okay back. Once I get that email, I'll send out another email to everybody on the board with a link. It's a free online course. It is mandatory for everybody that's in the Housing Authority. Once I get that, I'll email it's your email address, and I'll email you what the password's going to be. The authorization goes from that after you go through that course. It goes to DHCD, and then you will be emailed with all of an email that says we have all completed it.
Okay, and that's outside of the open meeting law training?
Correct.
It's not the same thing at all,
Nope.
so we're all supposed to be doing that too?
No, this is according to, there was a public hearing notice, Public hearing notice 2017-5, which stated that all local housing authorities, Section 5B requires that DHCD establish and implement a comprehensive training program for all board members of state-aided local housing authorities. So per that, I had, when we talked about it, you said, can you look into it and take care of it for me? So I had submitted all of our email addresses. They're gonna, once we get it back, it's just an online thing. It's probably gonna take about 30 minutes for everybody, and then we're up to code with that.
Okay.
Or a standard, I
Thank you
should
for
say.
doing that.
Yep. I also provided a link to a training manual for local housing authority, so everybody has that. So you have the current materials. And finally, outlined in the email was a 40B training for local boards and officials. Natalie and I are already confirmed to attend. If anyone else is interested, you have to apply via the webpage to get the link sent to you. And that is
We're going to let the two of you do that and then report back? Then we
Okay.
don't have any quorum issue kind of thing?
That's what I was thinking too, but that's on October 15th, so that week is going to be busy for us, Natalie.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I was also asked to meet with the Townsend Zoning Board. The meeting has been set for October 17th and will be regarding interpretations of the Zoning Board and the Housing Authority thoughts regarding the town bylaws and state regulations. Because the meeting hasn't taken place, I have nothing to report on that, but I will let you know that the next meeting that we have, I'll give you what we talked about there. The next item is copies of the video, if you can pass one down to Natalie. That's the raw video that you had, flash drives that you had asked me to get out to everybody. I also wanted to let you know that I'll help with prepare a PowerPoint presentation and everything, so when we get to what we're going to talk about tonight, I'll go ahead and I can add whatever we do with the video for that.
Okay, so while we're on this flash drive,
Yep.
Hartley, so was this what we were going to do from the flash drive in the, explain to me again how we
Okay.
would do this
If we wanted to edit
to
it,
edit, right?
I'm not sure we could do it from the flash drive. I believe, I hope, I still have the original
You have,
I have a
tape.
disc.
he has the
Okay, you
disc.
have
I have a
the
disc,
original
yep.
tape. Okay,
Yep.
you have it, so we could probably take that to, well, I haven't made any arrangements yet, but if you want me to go ahead and ask some of our neighbor cable access studios, if we can do something with them. I'm sure at least one of them would be able to help us. So we can talk about that sometime when you're ready. Let me know, and I can do the outreach, and hopefully we can get together for an editing session.
Okay, so according to our last meeting, the August 15th meeting, we actually did have that conversation, and we agreed to go ahead and do that. We all have busy lives, so we didn't get to it. But now we have a shorter window now. And might it be possible for you to try for next week sometime with
That's
one of them?
Kind of short notice, but I'll do my best. See, I must have misunderstood. I thought I was waiting to hear back from you for or someone.
Yeah, no, I think we voted that night, but it kind of like everything went by the wayside after that night for
It
a
was-
while,
yeah.
Right.
and life took over, so,
Okay, let me talk to my colleagues in the other towns,
yep,
and if something can be arranged, we can hopefully put something together.
Okay.
I can't make any promises in that regard, because this would obviously depend on the kind of equipment they have and as opposed to what we have, but I'll try, is what I'm saying.
okay. So at this point, we're looking at a 2-week window. If today's the 3rd, so starting the 4th tomorrow to the day before of our event is the 18th, so that's like 14 days.
Who would be the person I would be working with on this edit?
We can, do you want me to? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It would be me.
Jazz.
Okay, Chad, before you leave tonight, give me your phone number and
Yep.
other contact information, and I'll make arrangements, and now that I know that it's you, and I can find out when you're available, I can find out when they're available.
Okay.
Hopefully, we can put something together.
Absolutely, yep, I can do that.
If I can participate when you guys decide, whatever it is, I'll be happy to
Okay.
tag along, okay? Is that all right with you?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Bring coffee.
Okay, and, okay.
Okay, the next, yeah, you gave me a lot of stuff last week. The next section was regarding some moderate income questions that you had. Do you want me to go into that right now? Because there's not really, I mean, I can do it really quickly, because there's nothing really from DHCD that we had looked about. You had asked what happens to a deemed moderate income housing unit approved by the zoning board for special permit for non-familial tenant that gets sold.
Yeah,
The answer to that is according to town bylaws, chapter 145, zoning article 9, special provisions subsection 36 states, any permit granted pursuant to this section shall be for 5 years duration revocable upon sale of the property unless the buyer by written notice to the Board of Appeals agrees to the local housing agency or partnership program for the balance of the term.
so it is the balance of the term, so in other words, it's revocable, but if they apply, they could apply for just the balance of,
Correct. Correct. So
but that's not the 5-year term, that's the 15-year term.
this is and that's the portion that I need to work out with the zoning. all
Okay.
right? Because
All right.
we have our bylaws and we have the state statute.
Right.
I don't know which supersedes what.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to be discussing on the 17th.
Do you, Michelle?
Bylaws usually do.
The bylaws usually do. So if that's the case, and I want to verify it with the zoning board, if that's the case, then it should be just a 5-year instead of the 15-year that we were quoting before. According to,
Okay.
Unless someone appealed it, but I doubt anyone would appeal it, right?
I
Well,
don't
we
think
don't
it
know
would.
that.
Yeah. Then it would go to the state.
The concern is that when the application that I'm to give a tenant, or to give a landlord to apply for moderate housing, states that they have to do it for a 15-year period.
Correct, in order for it to stay in our affordable counts.
Right. So according to our bylaws, it says only 5 years.
Yeah, right.
But the bylaws are for familial.
Correct.
The bylaws are not for
not for
moderate
what-
income.
right.
Once they go to moderate income, the zoning stated to us, or the applicant, that they have to go by the moderate income guidelines, which is 15 years by the state.
Right. So we're having,
What if a familiar, what if they're, so even if they're medium income and they fall under our bylaw, they have to go to the state?
not, if it's family, that it doesn't.
If it's
No.
family,
If
no.
it's family, it's the 5-year.
But if it's one person.
If they wanted to rent to somebody other than their family,
Okay,
and they have to rent it for moderate, so
Yes.
it's 80% of
Got it.
the median income.
Got it.
Number one. Number two is they have to keep that in moderate housing for 15 years according to the state.
got it. Yeah.
And we're getting pushback on the 15 years from people, that have an accessory apartment that want to do this. So there's.
Not a problem if it's family,
Yep.
can be 5-year.
Yeah.
5-year renewable. and they could have different family members every 5 years.
Is that because they can't get someone to stay 15 years, or?
No, because well, in one instance, we had a person that, within like 5 to 6 years, they may have another family member that would be available for that particular one. And according to the state, it can't be flip-flop. Once it's moderate housing, it's moderate housing.
Okay.
Yeah. I also looked into the local initiative program, which is the LIP that I was talking about. Chapter 40B subsection regarding accessory apartments. So depends on who supersedes who. I'm thinking that if it is a bylaw that supersedes that, then we might be able to redo it. So I did every single town in the state of Massachusetts, and I looked at what their is. We can write whatever we want to do in our bylaw, according to what I'm seeing, because each town has been different. So
For
if
local bylaw, but
Yep.
will that count towards affordable housing?
it should. If we put it in our bylaws supersede the state statute in that respect. What I see, bottom line, is what happens is the state wants to guarantee that whoever is renting an apartment has to follow the state statutes for fair housing. That's the whole reason why this is a big thing. What the state doesn't want is that if we have an accessory apartment and we give them a special permit to rent to anybody, that we need to make sure that they're not being discriminatory when they rent. They have to follow fair housing practices, and that's their way of monitoring it. And as the housing authority, we have to make sure that we monitor that as well. So if we're going to be doing this, we need to make sure that we have measures in place so that that is going to be monitored, whether it be the building inspector or whatever. I mean, we got to figure all that out. But that's what I'm seeing. So what I thought was I'll talk to the zoning board first, and then I'll go back to DHCD and say this is our situation. This is what we're doing. What do you think we should do in this respect?
Okay.
Does that sound like...
Yes,
okay.
because we're working on the accessory apartment bylaw right now in
Yes.
planning.
Yes.
So if there's a tweak that can be done via the years thing, we
Yep.
should get that incorporated at the same time.
And that's why I wanted to get this done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
The second reason why I feel this is important for us to address as soon as possible is that we have had a couple of properties drop off our subsidized housing list, and we need to look at more creative sources to increase so that we don't have to really jump into a 40B here in town. My focus is to make sure that we don't have this huge, building complex go up because we can't fulfill our affordable housing. So I want to make sure that if we are going to do this, and we can do it through the local initiative program, the LIP program, they are saying that they'll work with us if we need to rewrite a bylaw, or they'll look into it. They'll help us look into it to see what we need to do so that we can preserve and increase our affordable housing
Okay, so with that, we should work together on that.
with the planning
Yes,
and with
because...
zoning. Yep.
Well, we've already, we've already been through the accessory apartment thing, but it sounds like you could add a couple of things to that for the affordable part of it.
Yep.
And that would need to be sooner rather than later, because we want that to be voted on this fall, hopefully.
So I have here, it's my understanding that a closer look at how the independent boards here in Townsend are being looked at regarding how interboard issues are being handled. I think between all of the boards, we should be able to come up with something that's going to be good for the planning, be good for housing authority, be good for zoning.
Something, okay.
If we all work together, I think we should be able to do it. And according to what I'm seeing, the state will back us up in that. Whatever resources we may need to be able to do it, they'll help us do that.
So from the last meeting, let me just add on to that, because I did not put it in my report today. But from the last meeting, we had also had the question about Vicki and the assessors.
Yep.
And what other benefits there might be to actually having a moderate income accessory apartment. The only benefit that we have right now to give tax-wise is that that apartment, being moderate income, would be assessed at an 80% of market value. So they would receive a 20% decrease in taxes on that unit.
Correct.
So that's the information from the assessor's office.
And
on
that is the benefit that somebody
Yeah.
would do to make it a moderate housing. There's also another benefit that, part of the reason why we are focusing on the affordable housing inventory for Townsend is that we don't want a large, a complex come in like in the Whalum. I mean, that's the best example that's a 40B. That is being opened up to, maximum square footage of the land that's on there, and they can pretty much do whatever they need to do because that's what a real 40B is. And if we can start increasing our affordable housing, putting it in our plan because we are in planning stages, we can, keep pushing that, the probability of that happening in town down the road. All right, so that's why I feel that we need to focus on that.
Yeah, we seem to luck out with Turnpike Village because he was working on that for so long, and because the market went down, he ended up building all affordable units that are rentals and count for us, count for the town.
Yeah.
That's a benefit to the town.
Right. So as far as that's concerned, that's where I am with that. So we should have more answers the next time that we meet.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm glad you had that all typed up because we can just add that report to the minutes of this meeting. Thank you.
And the last piece was that you had asked me, we had gotten a memo from the executive assistant to the Board of Selectmen in regards to the paper, the budget, the ink,
Yes.
all of that kind of stuff. So I did send an email out to the executive assistant, Carolyn Smart.
I have a copy of that.
Yeah, she had written me back, and she said that she just needs to know what we are using for expenditures as far as paper and all that kind of stuff. I told her that we are talking in regards to budgets for the Housing Authority. We're working on that piece of it. But I told her that once we finish up here, I'll come in and talk to her and tell her what we have already expensed as far as paper and all of that kind of stuff. And then they'll talk about reimbursement and all of that. So I was kind of hoping
Okay.
to see where our, if we had on the next agenda item, if that was. But Madam Chair, I'd be glad to give you a copy of this report if for the minutes if you'd like.
Thank you.
You're
It'll be
welcome.
very helpful. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for all that work. So that was at 1.8. I'd like to just swing up to 1.7 under my remarks and tell you that I forgot or put to 1.5 the additions and deletions. Mr. Jackson,
Yes, ma'am.
hi.
How you doing?
How are you? Thanks.
All right, I'm rehearsing for the meeting I'm supposed to come to.
So were you coming tonight because I had not gotten you on the agenda?
No, I wasn't going to.
Oh, I thought it was my fault.
I wanted to listen to your other things that you
Oh,
had.
awesome. Thank you so much.
And
Appreciate you being here.
I don't have the map ready yet for that, so I can, maybe you can tell me later what you would like from me, and then I can work on getting that for the meeting rather than rambling on,
Okay.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us this evening. Okay, so 1.9 was Carol Toole is going to report on her meeting with the TA regarding the staff and budget. I'm not sure as to whether or not she had that meeting, and she's not with us tonight, so we'll just, if it's okay with everybody else, we'll just move that to the next meeting.
Okay.
And then, for the appointments this evening, Sheila was supposed to meet with us, our state rep, and she was not able to do that. I did have a conversation with her earlier. She is confirmed for our public forum on Friday, October 19th, at the Senior Center, noon to 2 p.m. And did you get a call back? I did not get a call back on seeking refreshments yet.
No.
Okay, so but we did start. We've made a couple calls,
That's still open.
and we're hoping to have either a local restaurant or even the senior center provide something, or see if we can't scrounge up a few dollars so that we have something available that day.
I also have talked to a couple of other businesses that had showed interest in maybe donating some other things, like maybe tablecloths and flowers and that kind of stuff to dress everything up too.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Okay, good. We'll be planning that in the next couple of weeks. So, Soldier On has been confirmed, and I was looking for that email so I could give you the name tonight, but I couldn't find the email. I'm pretty sure that it's, I so hate to speak out of turn because I just don't remember his name.
Was it the gentleman that was on the video?
No, that was just our guide that day. It was, I believe, who's coming out is the man that came out last year.
Okay.
That spoke with, there was 2 that came out, and of course they have all these houses in Blackstone, Albany, New York, Tinton Falls, New Jersey, Chittenango, New York, Biloxi, Mississippi, Daytona, Florida, and Pittsfield, Mass. And of course we were at Agawam. So they have great success in the projects that they've done. And what Sheila wanted to reiterate to me today was that the housing department, his name is Francisco Urena, director of, he's the secretary of Veteran Affairs, and then there's a Colleen, or he's the director of, and then Colleen is the director of housing for veterans. So we didn't have a confirmation yet on Francisco being able to be with us, but one of them will be. In fact, I'm going to try to call her.
There's also Secretary Jay Ash that I had asked to see if he could come as well. He's the secretary of...
Hey, hi. We're in the meeting.
So I did talk to Francisco Urena.
Okay.
And he was in Washington, D.C. right when I started with actually on the train, but he gave me the name and number of his chief of staff. So he said I probably should call him first thing in the morning, and obviously he said if he can get there, he's going to get there.
Okay, and who's the...
Well, he won't be the guy to get there, but his name is Paul Moran. I'm going to try to talk to him and Claire tomorrow. So I don't know if you just want to hold off putting any names just in case he gives me a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
At least I've got it on his radar.
Okay, good.
I don't think he knew we had been looking to have I don't think he did message back to him.
Oh, that's too bad.
So, yeah. So
I-
anyway, so I'll follow up with his chief of staff, because he said he'll make sure that we get, attention right away.
Okay. And Chaz had mentioned that he had asked for Jay Ash. Was that a possibility or not?
The only thing is, when I talked to Jay Ash's staff, they said that kind of a housing project totally falls under the jurisdiction
Right.
Of veterans.
Okay.
of veterans.
You're right. Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
They didn't think it would make sense.
But we know we have his support
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever I can do for you, and so we can maybe get a letter from him or something.
Okay.
That might be a way to go, see if we can do that.
Okay.
He said he gives us his full support. But I just think if he were to come, he'd have to defer to Francis.
Right. Right. Okay.
Somebody, either the woman who runs the housing end of it, or he himself needs to come, the way I see it.
Okay. And you still want us to send everything that we have to put into a flyer to you? Okay. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. And good luck with your event tomorrow. Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, she spoke with Francisco, and he's not sure because he was on a train to DC when she was talking to him. So she has the name of Paul Moran, who's the chief of staff, and he's gonna. She's going to talk to him and make sure that this gets the attention it needs to get confirmed.
Okay.
Okay?
Because I would also like to invite Natalie. Who's the gentleman? Keith?
Keith Jackson.
Yeah, I would like to make sure
He's
that-
the VFW state commander.
Yeah.
Oh, Keith from Townsend.
Oh,
He
yeah.
should be coming.
Yeah, I would like.
And
I would like.
Russell Job.
And the rest of them.
He's the senior vice. He's the junior vice commander of the state.
Yeah, but with Keith, I'd like to see if we can at least get a word or two from him.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, just send him a PM
Yeah.
All right.
or
Yeah.
call him. Definitely. I'll see him.
Can you do
probably
that,
Tuesday.
Natalie? Can you?
I'll ask Keith. I'll see him Tuesday.
Okay.
I got a VFW meeting on Tuesday.
Any confirmations that you get, if you could give to me, because Sheila was kind enough to offer up her husband, who does promotional materials.
Oh yes.
Perfect.
And so we get him, like all the pictures you talked about and all that, and he's going to do a flyer for us, which is cool. He doesn't know yet, but
Bifold legal styles. Okay.
okay, we will
Color
see.
embossed.
And then the next thing I had was our viewing of the Soldier On visit. So now we have that on the flash drives, and hopefully we'll get something done to edit that a little bit, because it is 37 minutes, and probably not all of it has to be, you
Right,
know.
it is, but there's also what I wanted to let you know is that with these, I can take select pictures out of it to use in the presentation that we have. You know what I mean? So I can.
I know what you mean. It's way above me.
Yeah, I know.
but-
I know. But
Chaz, have you ever done, or is your computer capable of doing video editing within itself?
I have movie maker, so.
So you could conceivably edit it yourself? Well, that might be the best way
Yeah,
along.
right.
Yeah.
If you can do
Why
it.
don't you and I get together
Okay.
with your computer and your movie maker thing, and where
You talk like it's magic. It's just a
It would be.
computer program.
to me it's magic.
Since you'll be deciding what stays in and what stays out,
Yeah.
you can just do it
Yeah.
right on site.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
We can do that.
Okay, so we've got that going. And then the next item we just talked to Sheila about, and that was the confirmation of other attendees. And then, so going to our work session, we've already gone into the planning of the flyer. And the forum itself, how would you like to see that go? Anyone?
Yeah, what do you, my thoughts are I mean, there needs to be a welcome in the beginning. I don't have a problem doing any of that. I was thinking that I could do a little mini PowerPoint presentation in the beginning about, you know, where we're at, how this all came about, because this has been like 5 years. Actually more than that, but it's not something that we pulled out, you know, it's not a rabbit out of the hat kind of thing. We've been working on this for several years. So if I can give like a brief kind of where we're at, I'd like to maybe have you address what the needs of the housing is in the town. If you could talk about what the affordable housing, you know, what our mission is basically for affordable housing, and then you can, that's where you could segue into the several different people that we've talked to for this project, and then we can introduce the person from Soldier On, and they can give us a little presentation of what they're, you know, what they're proposing or whatever, so that it gives the community exactly what we're looking at. You know, there should be a question and answer type thing for anybody that's there, and then we would need to have some sort of, I would like to have some kind of information gathering tool, whether it be something on our website where somebody can download it and type, but I want to get input from the community in regards to that, and I'm not really sure how we can go about that at this point. Does that make sense? All right, I want to make sure that if somebody that had...
Before the date?
No, afterwards. It's just something that we can put live that we can announce in that particular thing, because we are going to be videoing it, I would assume. So we could say, go to the Housing Authority webpage, click on blah, 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 and give us your feedback, comments, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of other informational tools that I'll send to both of you that have to do with looking at public input and basically answering the questions before they're asked,
Right.
kind of thing. So I think we need to be a little proactive in that. In lieu of the conversations that we had in last meeting about some of the other feedback that we got, I think we need to be prepared. So when the questions come out, we're going to be able to answer those.
I agree, because they're going to want to know how much it's going to cost them. That's probably the biggest question they're going to ask.
Yep.
And what about with services? And that's the main thing about Sojourn.
Yep.
The services are all provided
Yep.
by Sojourn.
Yep.
This doesn't have anything to do with the trail, but I remember a long time ago, I believe my wife's involved with the seniors and the Council on Aging, and there seems to be around 100 people on a waiting list for a place in Atwood Acres. Wasn't there a plan a long time ago to have a third building built by, was it the Federal Housing Authority or somebody? There was enough space over there for a third building to be built. That's one of the questions I'm hearing you asking, what are the people going to ask? And that's the only thing I remember from many years ago.
And a lot of
That's
people have
always been
said
the
that.
plan.
And here's the answer to it, and it's not a nice answer. There's no money.
Okay.
We can't get any money for that. When we built the second phase, which is the one that has the big wait list, that was the last time that funding was available for the state. So unless we
That was
had...
HUD 202,
Yeah.
and that was
That
the
was-
last one built,
That
was
was-
Townsend Woods.
Yeah,
the
so
36
unless we
units.
find a benefactor that has very deep pockets, we'd be able to build something, but, there is just no public funding to be able to do that. We've looked into several different funding avenues, grants and all that. We've tried to apply for a couple of grants too, because I wrote a grant not too long ago, to try to get this off the ground. What was it, 3 years ago? And that was just to get preliminary funding for it, and there's no money in that.
So is this where the town has to match federal money, or there's nothing?
No. Once the Townsend Woods was built, we were told that was the last HUD 202 funds in the U.S. We got the last building built with HUD 202 money. So it was shortly thereafter that we decided we would go with veterans housing. And because there is private and public funding available for veterans housing.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, we still have, I think it's 7 acres left in that parcel.
Okay.
And our thoughts for the last 3 or 4 years has been for veterans housing.
Did you talk to Mass Housing at all? Because I know they give grants. Because
Oh,
I just went
we've
to a
talked to
whole
Mass
We've had-
Housing,
on it.
we've talked to...
We've had 4 other management companies out. We've talked to Mass Housing, we've talked to CDAC, we've talked to, we invited our CAP, but they did not
our cap, it
come.
was I forget what it was.
MCHD?
Yeah.
It might be worth it to try it again, because I know they just gave a ton of money to people for some housing in a building that a builder did on Nantucket that he rehabbed.
If we
Northampton.
initiate,
Okay.
and we have talked to them, if we initiated that process, it would be anywhere from 5 to 7 years for us to even see the first dollar so that we could put a shovel in the ground at this point.
Well, I know Northampton gets a lot of money from them to rehab things and to build things for housing. So.
And we've trust me, we've looked at a lot of different things. But I also want to say that it was voted by one of somebody that was on the Housing Authority back then, 5 years ago, Kathy, that's when everybody agreed that it was going to be a veterans housing. So we're carrying that forward, you know, and
Sure.
I agree with where we're at right now. I think that it's the best solution that we can find, you
Yeah.
know, at this point.
Yeah.
Because that would generate, we're looking at a possible, 50 units if we can get this approved.
Yeah.
And 50 units is huge for the affordable housing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thought also is that once, if it is veterans housing, the possibility of current veterans that are in our affordable housing would then be able to move over to there, which would free up more space in the two buildings that we have currently.
Yeah, sure.
You know.
And the Soldier On concept is, it has an equity component to it for the veterans to participate in. They pay taxes, so there's some offset to the, and Sulicio is here for that meeting, there's some offset to the community too. So it's kind of more like a win-win
Yeah.
situation.
Sure.
And so, yeah, and this also is not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
You know, they've already told us that. I mean, the other one, we were refused 3 times for Townsend Woods, and it did take us 7 years
To get that off the ground.
to get that off the ground.
Yeah.
And then we had an opening 1 year later, but, you know, it was,
Yes.
yeah, it's just a lot of paperwork before you get there.
And part of this too is the feasibility study. I mean, we're going to be looking at all of that. You know, the is it the need for the veterans housing is there. I can give you the numbers on that. I mean, it's definitely there's definitely a need for it. Number one, but number two is which need supersedes it, and where are we going to get the funding? I mean, that's what it all boils down to. You know, we have a population that has a need. It also has a benefit to the town. The town is going to get taxes out of it,
Yeah.
which is, as far as I see it, you know, that's a good perk. If it was just affordable housing, the town doesn't, you know, we actually don't get anything at all, right? Because we had to sign over the land for both of those.
We don't get anything.
Yeah, we get nothing.
We get nothing out of that except our affordable housing counts.
Yeah.
So it's a business for somebody else, but, you know, we're out of it. And I don't think we realized how much out of it we were, you know, until this last year. So we're in agreement that we're going to put all kinds of stuff together.
Yep. As far as the flyer is concerned, how do you want to handle that? You said you just wanted to put forth information.
Get me
and
everything that you have, and I will get that to Sheila.
Okay.
And then her husband's going to work out some kind of thing, and I guess we'll get to approve it,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
before
so
that gets dispersed.
all the pictures, and then we can just use excerpts from some of the other reports and that kind of stuff, like the report to Townsend we can use.
And I have to get those names, too.
You don't necessarily have to have the name. We can put a representative from the Veterans Affairs, the State Veterans Affairs.
And the flyer itself can be just pictures and just the date and the time and,
yeah.
you know, the location, and then
Once we get
just come,
confirmed
and
on
then-
who they are, I
yeah.
can put that on the website, and you know, they'll know who's going to be in attendance for that.
Okay. And then next was mail. Was there anything else there but that package?
That's all
Okay,
I
good.
could
So, under that discussion, after looking at the last tape of the meeting, it was probably the first time in my memory of serving, so 15 plus years on this board, that we ever had that much of mail that was read. And I think it's because we never had those 2 applications for the accessory apartments. And so that those were read, and then whatever. And what I'm used to in the other boards is they don't get read, they're just a summary. Because unless it's an action item, you know, that we're actually taking part of, and that really was my fault, because I didn't look at it ahead of time, and so Carol didn't know any different. But I think now we have it on the agenda now to just take care of that. It's a summary item unless it's an action item.
Do we have to vote on that?
I don't know, it's just policy. It's
So
just
just-
kind of
okay.
instructional
All right,
thing.
so I
It's not
agree.
we're not going to be taking an action that's going to go on to something else. It's just that,
Okay.
it's just more instructional.
Okay. Well, I agree with that.
Yeah, me too.
I agree with that.
It was informative, but I mean, anyway, okay.
But I think that if it has to do with like other board business, that would take, I mean, we know what am I trying to say? Lori, what am I trying to say? We know if it's for, let's say, affordable housing in accessory apartments, we know what that's all about. So all we really need to know is in what phase it's in, right? We don't need the whole thing read, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we don't need it read unless we have to take an action item on it, unless
Okay.
we have to make a motion and do something about it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's informative.
Yep.
And then the only other thing is, those other, which we're getting less of, is the request for housing.
Yep.
And we don't have housing, so it ends up being a template form that goes out. Okay, so I'm trying, so you've already given your report under 3.2, and then under the 3.3 budget preparation assignment, is that something that I could ask you to work on? Yep. And that would be the preparation of the budget, and so that'll be something that gets submitted to finance, and it's kind of all going to be hypothetical to start out, because
Okay.
we never had to do it before.
All right.
We always had the land use coordinator until 3 years ago when they said, no, it's not in her job description. But, all right?
Yes.
So whatever it's going to be, it will be experimental.
Oh, yeah. And anything else you want.
And I don't know if that's something that you can
I'm
help
gonna take you
with.
up on that now.
Don't.
The budget preparation?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what experience you've had in the past. I know that you did the housing production report in 2015, you said in Maynard?
Yes.
And that was our last report, and ours is due in 2020, and our land use coordinator prepared the report each year, okay? But that summary, now we have to have in 2019, I've prepared the selectmen, I've stated this at a selectmen's meeting, that in 2019, we have to have a survey go out. And in 2014, we did like a roundtable town hall forum type thing, which was very successful. Actually, RCAP helped us with that.
Yeah.
They brought the food and they facilitated it. I've already put them on notice that we need that for 2019.
Yes, right.
And then, the survey, the summaries of whatever that particular event came out with is what went into our housing plan. And our last one is good. I mean, a lot of the data repeats itself in the next.
It does unless you add new units. and
Correct.
they Go in. Or,
Correct.
Or units.
It's
are
an
taken out.
update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we will have some that we will have lost on Coppersmith.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we'll have, if any, added, except that we would be talking about our proposed and what we're working on. So veterans housing at 50 units.
Right, veterans housing is a possibility of 50 units, and we're also looking to expand our affordable housing inventory by looking at accessory apartments.
Yeah. Maybe you and I can work on that together, because you know the history for
Yep.
for the next one at least, and then from here on out, I'll keep abreast of the history.
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Great, thank you. And so for our next meeting date, I don't know if you just want to meet briefly to recap the 19th.
What do you mean recap? Like,
After the meeting, after the public forum,
okay. Well,
should we meet on the...
I'd like to do something before, just a quick thing. It doesn't have to be here, but it can be just so we're all on the same page. So the 19th, we know who's doing what's where and when. I'd like you guys, I'll email out the PowerPoint presentation so we all are on the same page as far as that's concerned. Maybe look at some timing issues and that kind of stuff.
Okay. And I'll see you on the 15th anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just do that
Okay.
by email or phone.
Yeah.
So
that when we get there, it's noon. I plan on being there a little early, like
I'll be
around
there
11 or
early.
so.
They
Yeah.
open at 9, so I'll be there
Yeah,
early.
so we can get there, we can get it set up. And we can
everything.
maybe do a dry run or something
Yeah.
before that. Okay, that works for me.
So I'm trying to think of when we might...
So we're going on the 15th, which is Monday, right?
Right, yeah, 15th in the morning. So maybe the 24th, as far as follow-up after the meeting, the 19th?
24th, is that on a Wednesday?
Yes, October 24th.
Okay.
It's after the forum, so maybe the 24th, 6:30?
Why don't we do that? I mean,
Okay.
I would like to actually, if we don't have anything that we have to do right away, I would actually want to skip the holiday season.
Yeah, go to January.
Okay, so we can follow up on the 24th.
Okay.
And then
On
why don't we
Wednesday.
take it from there?
Take
And,
it to
yeah.
January.
See what actions we have to do after that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I mean,
here we are on the
that would
3rd.
work for me because if
Yeah.
I need to write something, that would give me a lot of time to really work on it.
Okay,
right,
like another grant?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's a good idea.
All right, so 6:30 on the 24th.
Okay.
And that's pending me being able to get the room.
Oh, yeah.
And Hartley, are you good on that day?
Let me see, we're talking about October 24th?
October 24th.
Okay, hold on one second.
Okay.
That's a Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I could be available that day.
Okay, great.
So,
At what time?
6:30.
6:30.
In this room?
Correct.
Yes.
We're gonna,
Well, I'm gonna...
she's sending
I'm
an
gonna send
email
an
now to
email
see if we
now.
can get it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jackson, did you want to attend that meeting?
I was just looking at what you wrote there. I'm also on the board of Squanicook Greenway, and I think they have a meeting on the 24th in Groton. I can skip that, but
Whenever you
Yeah,
want.
whatever is,
what I'd like to do is informally, if you could say, here's what we'd like to know about what you're doing about the senior trail in reference to the housing authority and how you would want me to get back to you with information. I haven't done all the landowners like Atwood Acres. I don't know who owns over there. I might have to talk to their management.
Yeah.
But talking to the, I got letters from the school district and the Townsend Water Department
yep.
and everything, but I haven't covered all my bases. I talked to the landowner for a wetland area, but I'm just a trail tender volunteer.
Is that the wetland, that's where we looked at before when we
Yeah.
went out and scouted, right?
When you and, I think we had Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith was out there.
There was another person who was very knowledgeable there. I can't
Karen
remember-
Karen Chapman.
Or Karen too, but
Yeah.
I mean, there was another guy.
Oh, he was the engineer. Charlie, was it Charlie? I forget his name.
He was a townie.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what,
Yeah,
he was
he-
very knowledgeable.
Yeah, he is an engineer. I forget what
And
his...
at that time, Kevin said that the trail that I proposed to go through that wetland and kept the Atwood Acres
Yep.
would not interfere with the housing authority's plan for seniors.
Absolutely, yep.
Or for, I'm sorry, for veterans.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want the trail to go through a driveway plan that you had.
Correct.
You know,
We don't have any
Correct.
plan.
Yeah, there's no plan, but what we were
There's no
looking at is
plan.
the best spot, whatever, because at that particular time, we weren't really sure what was going to happen because we were in the exploratory stage, and where we had gone to look where that one section is where the wetland was.
Yep.
That's a spot that wouldn't be able to be built on anyway because it is wetland, so.
Is that the one that goes from Groton to here?
No.
Oh, okay, because
That's,
we just received
that's,
the application for that.
that's, to,
Conservation.
was it Tamposi, Bertozzi?
Oh, yeah.
In Groton,
Yeah.
West Groton, and to Townsend on an existing rail trail. That's
Yeah,
a
that's,
different.
we have a permit application in for that now,
For, yeah.
for that.
This is where currently the senior housing is on Dudley Road, and it goes from there all over to the library. So it's really town land, and then I think there was a piece of conservation land that's there, and then somebody's property. It
Mr.
kind of-
Reboulet, who lives at 60
That's right.
Dudley.
Yeah.
He's given me a verbal. Of course, my wife told me that's not good enough. But right now, what I'm trying to do is be a volunteer gathering knowledge and not go out on a limb and have somebody saw it off on me. So I'm not negotiating with any landowners. I don't have any money.
Yep.
It's just that I'm working toward getting all the information I need and then getting some advice on the right way to, I don't have any problem with building trails, I just have to learn more about the politics of establishing it.
Yep. And I would like it if you could come on the 19th, that we would be able to talk with the Soldier On people that we are looking to partner with, that I'm sure that they'd be able to help us out with that, because they certainly have the expertise.
That's the 19th of October.
Correct, yeah. And it's
Is that the senior center?
I'm currently a land steward for the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests, and I'm scheduled to work from 9 till 3 p.m. up in Weir, New Hampshire.
Okay.
Oh.
So I heard you say 2 o'clock, right?
Yeah, it's 12 to 2, yeah, is what we're going to do. But what we can do, maybe you and I can touch base before that.
Okay.
And I can basically, because I would like to let them know that, we are looking at this too. I mean, there's a lot of other little mini projects that we're looking to get all done at the same time.
I'm looking for a natural access trail, because once you say disabled or handicap trail, now you put yourself into a certain level
Yep.
of requirements. But there is also the challenging aspect for all inclusive if you have a natural access trail. And so I've been on webinars for some of this to learn more about it. And
But I think it's,
I can get in touch with you.
yeah, I think if you and I talk, then we can at least have that. So I think the more that we try to do there for, I think that's an excellent idea to get connection between those buildings and the public buildings that we have down there.
The only costly part, because I can do everything manually with tools, I've done part of that trail myself and my grandson. But the area across the wetland, I think Karen Chapman and we measured, it's going to be 220 feet.
Yep.
My goal would put in a boardwalk that's 6 foot wide, and I wanted to have a section in the middle that people could pass, like a cupola, where it'd be a nice viewing area for wildlife and all. But at the same time, it would be wide enough for a four-wheel vehicle, like a golf cart,
Yep.
if you needed to rescue a senior citizen or something like that.
Yep.
So that's my goal, my dream, but getting to that point would be, we'd have to purchase the land or have a CR, that kind of thing, to get the person that owns that wetland, which they're not going to build on it, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
And
I
see what
think
I
that,
can do.
if I remember correctly, I think that's part of the town parcel to be honest with you.
It's DCR to a certain point, then it becomes Mr. Rebelay.
Yeah.
Because he owns a triangle.
Yeah.
And then it goes over to Townland and then Atwood Acres.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have a more confusing.
But it's possible.
Yeah.
You
Eagle
know?
Scouts are good for building those boardwalks too. Those are great Eagle Scout projects
Mm-hmm.
and Boy Scout projects. I've worked with them to
Nice.
do those kinds of things.
And Matt Amadon, the supervisor from Townsend, I know him from other experiences on trails, but he's in favor of the process because he would like people to be able to walk from his trailhead across from Atwood Acres, where the town owns, DCR owns a parking lot. And then the public could use that trail also to walk from his parking area, because seniors have told me, Ray, I don't want you to have hikers parking here because we live here and we don't want all the cars. So it would actually serve a purpose to use the DCR parking area as a
Absolutely.
tangential leg off of that, just before the seniors get to go home. So I've done a little bit of work, so, but not as much as my wife said I should do.
But I believe in your project. I think I think it's awesome.
All right.
Okay.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay. We're adjourned at 7:30.
Thank you, Hartley.
Earliest in a long time.
Must have been what I
Thank you,
said.
Hartley.